Hello from Safonova. This is a podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about piracy and let's start with the definition.
In the modern world, the word piracy has several meanings, and most famous of them first is illegal attacking of ship to steal the coins to put them in chest and to steal program software to play in games, do not pay for the usage, and it depends just from you what we will discuss.
And well, we actually will try to maybe cover two areas and see like how exactly it goes. Maybe let's start with the modern piracy, because I think for our listeners, it might be more interesting. So if we look at the modern or, like the pirates that currently operate in our digital waters, what kind of them exist at the moment?
Let's explain on the nearest example. Several days ago, I got a call from a very famous company. The name of the company is Messwork. They are producers of MathCAD program, and they asked me, do I able to recover their data because they were chipped. I don't know how to say chipped, зашифрованы, chipped?
Encrypted, yeah.
Encrypted by the ransomware. And for me, it was a very dangerous bell because I always say in all podcasts and all my articles, always use at least 3 and better to have 5 copies. And suddenly, such a famous company got in such a problem, stuck in such a awkward situation, and I'm very, very worried about. And we were working for almost 20 hours and we recovered it. But those people were demanding 30 bitcoins in order to get a special program which will restore all the data. This is also so-called piracy.
Well, and I do remember it, one of the skills, and actually you said that multiple times, sometimes the cost of the protection is irrelevantly higher than actually the cost of the offense. So when we're actually looking for protecting ourselves from pirates, again, like if we own the budget or we're trying to, suggest a solution, what kind of number we should have in head in order to, make sure it will be bulletproof, at least for a while?
It depends from your goals. For example, it's very funny, but I have 3 notebooks and 2 of them not connected to any network. One is for my personal data, and I work with finance and with modeling, with my businesses. And on this notebook, I will put all data just after 1 week quarantine with flash drive. Second is used to work with clients' data, and I always move data just through SQL snippets, so it couldn't be damaged and it couldn't be covered by any kind of badware. Third is connected to the internet, but almost all of my data are encrypted with WinRAR, with password. And if I need to use some files, I just take them out of archive for a very short moment, and then I put them to special directory, which I call like active directory, and each day I would make copy of this directory on special drive. I have 5 drives. 2 of them is just flash drive. One is very small one, like 520 gigabytes. Second is 2 gigabytes. Third is 1 terabyte. And fourth is 4 terabyte. And also I have the same as you, Lassie, French, orange one drive to store all data which are annually. So on each drive I have different level of archiving. First is for daily archive. Second is for weekly archive. Third is for months archive. Then quarterly and then yearly. If something happened with data, they would be damaged on 1, 2, 3, but not all 5. By the way, you could ask me, is it a good idea to put some data on the clouds? I would say no, because sometimes my clients ask me to recover data from the clouds, and I couldn't do this because in order to make it, you need direct access.
Well, maybe I slightly can add up to that because recently I've been moving through the territories, and at certain point of time, the friendly cloud actually could say like, hey, actually, I don't like your territory. I don't like your IP address. Goodbye. So you have to make like certain things. And again, like we're speaking from the friendly territory, at least that means you have all of the tokens, all of your access. Still, the own system could be turned in so-called pirate. But when we speak about maybe, like a less sophisticated process for people, sometimes, like they also need to have some sort of like a hygiene in order to make sure that the moment someone will board their virtual ship, whether it's like a credit account, whether it's a notebook, whether it's a flash card, there is at least, like some sort of order of the items that can't really be possessed. Again, like a small thing, recently, like 2 hours ago, I was cleaning my laptop and I was thinking, okay, like what's the worst thing they can do? Probably, like they will look for the data. So again, like I archived everything, like made sure that, like it's clean. Basically, I pretend myself as a pirate looking into my laptop and figure out, okay, like a couple of things definitely should be removed. So again, speaking from the point of people who will be expecting the attack, let's say it's, like casual office worker, what kind of things they can do personally in order to at least do it at the hygiene level?
Maybe I was wrong, and let's clarify some points. If we think about stealing of our data, it could be like spies, people which will use, like, for example, rubber duck. They will use some flash drive and they would put something on it, like, for example, salary or bonuses. And if you will find it, you will think, okay, let's me make some copies. And under the coverage of the copying procedure, they will intrude your computer and steal your data. Second, it would be hackers. Hackers work from remote destinations, so they never will be close to you. And pirates, commonly, it's not people who steal the data as usual. Pirates, they break some codes, some gates, some protections to распространять, to distribute software without paying or for less prices. For example, there are a lot of pirates who sell so-called Office or Windows keys for Microsoft products for $5 instead of 500. Those are pirates, and pirates also have a good well-being in game industry. For example, right now we have a new Doom. The name it's, if I'm not mistaken, Dark Ages, and it costs like $100. But right now in China you could buy it for $1. So someone break the protection, and now it is widely distributed.
Well, actually, this might be a good chance for us to slightly switch the gear, especially for our listeners. That might be interesting. Recently, I was in Bali, and what I figured out that there, even in Dubai, I also have like another story. But in Bali, you could find like a lot of fake products. Literally, all of the Louis Vuitton or like a Prada or anything, it's on the street in the market. That means it's like another level of piracy. And what I also learned, they have their own textile production, and no matter in which way, they might be even the own workers, or maybe not the workers who work there, could actually create a copies or maybe extract copies and slap a proper label. So whether this thing is considered a piracy and how the entities like the corporations are trying to fight with it, or maybe they just neglect it.
This another way of piracy, and it has a special name, and I will remember how to tell it, how to say it. I will tell you a story. I have been to China once upon a time, and we were with a guy who owned a company which sold casual wear. It was a seller company. And we came to the Chinese factories with we were Stone Island out. I don't know how to say, sweaters. I don't know, hoodies,
Pullovers.
pullovers, but it was with hood. I don't know,
Hoodies.
hoodies. Okay, hoodies. And suddenly, a friend of mine, Boris, he told just in air, it is very cold. If okay, we have good clothes, but if it would be with fur, it would be much better. Fur, it's mech. It's okay.
Fur. Yes.
Sure, okay. And suddenly Chinese asked him, could you please give us the sample? And we were thinking which one we will give, but we have the same size. And Boris was asked how, so he gave his hoodies to the Chinese. At the next day, early at the morning, he got a package in his hotel room, and it was his Stone Island original hoodie, but with, I don't know, rabbit fur. It's okay to say rabbit fur?
Rabbit fur. Rabbit fur. Yes.
Rabbit fur. And you know, I was so jealous, and I asked, is it possible to do this for me? And Chinese say, okay, we could do like 10, 100, 1,000, and even 10,000 hoodies. You just pay. And for sure, I paid for 5, and they do it for me. And also, it was a request from my driver in Ukraine, in Kiev. He asked me, could you please find some phone with TV in it? And I asked people in China, is it possible to get? And they told me, you just pick up the phone and we'll build in TV. And I just put, I don't know, maybe iPhone 2 or some iPhone 4, I couldn't remember, old one. And suddenly on the next day, they gave me back with the TV inside. Yes, the signal was poor, the overview was very strange, and it was also antenna which is going to be telescopic and something very unusual. But you know, it's not a piracy, it's just copying. If you will work in China, you will understand that it is not allowed to copy just very well-known Chinese trademarks, but it's quite like a mock to copy French, Spain, Italian and US trademarks just for fun. Sometimes it would be stolen from the fabrics, and it would completely repeat all the features of the product. Sometimes it would be made as cheap as possible just to mock.
Well, it's funny enough that what I kind of learned slightly about the culture is actually they would make it with pride, because basically if you can create a copy and then you can build on top of that, it probably could be a good thing. And I do remember I was reading this book by author named called Raphael Sabatini about Captain Blood. So basically the guy was a doctor, then apparently because of his destiny, he became a pirate, but he was like intellectual pirate. So he knew all of this stuff. And again, like when we look into our enemies, at certain point of time, we can meet barbarians who just, like want to break in, take whatever is not stick to the wall and run out. Sometimes we could be meet with the Captain Bloods who actually do, again, like maybe in a negative way, who could do this in more organized, smarter ways, and the damage could be way more severe. So whether this kind of, like I would say entities, people exist, and how to protect against them.
You know, when I was working as a bodyguard for some people in Ukraine back to 90s, sometime I was asked to stay as chief of security, and I was asking, but why me? I am not the best fighter, I am not the best shooter, but I was told, but you know computer and you know some languages. So sometime even in the high business, in high league, it would be piracy because some secrets are worth to be stolen. For example, I was working in investment company, and if you will learn something about the object you want to buy or consider to buy, it will give you some advantage. So yes, I am not proud of it, but sometime I was taking part in special ops.
And yeah, maybe slightly continue on this thing, because sometimes we do know that, okay, we do have very interesting things that someone is going to take. And maybe when we're thinking about building defense, it's also might be that, we could add additional reward, make it as like a honeypot, something that still add a little bit of value. And maybe this honeypot could be turned into like a Trojan horse. It could become with a surprise, and surprise also might be not working like immediately. Whether this tactic also could work at certain point of time, or again, like if there is a professional pirates, they will sniff it from the distance and will avoid.
Yes, the honeypot is a good phrase, which I was hoping to remind, but you was ahead of me. When I was working in investment company, I created several sites and several programs which would do the good job antivirus scanning, but during this they would create some zip archives with passwords, and they would send it to me. And also I created a site which I named as Modern Antivirus, and I gave without any payment for free service to check the file for antiviruses. And yes, it was my antivirus, Bravo 2, and it was definitely trying to catch the viruses, and like less than 1% of those people will get their files after my curing, but I was storing all the data. It was to 20 years ago, and it was not prohibited at this time. And sometime I found very valuable data which I could use in business.
Well, and probably one of the things that definitely I was thinking recently, because, like, again, when moving through the countries, you actually see how the maybe security, maybe the surveillance is actually getting tighter and tighter. And nowadays, it might be like hard to be untraceable at a certain point of time. And again, I do believe we still might be seeing the tip of the iceberg. So what this piracy, it's still worth it, because even based on the case that you mentioned, it's quite a big company, it could be quite a big case, yet it happened.
You always could think that you're untraceable in internet, but every part of your hardware, like your motherboard, your network, your modem, your gadget, has some special numbers which are unique for the whole planet, and they could be traced. But for example, you will meet someone from another country like Burma, Cambodia, Cote d'Ivoire, or I don't know, Senegal, and those people are having passports, and you will ask them, can you please buy me a SIM card, and can you do something like this for $50, for $100, and so on. And definitely they will do this. Also, you could use people from Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and some other countries in South Asia. They would be happy to help, especially if, for example, you will use this SIM card for 3 days, and then you will give them back with whole balance, like more than they expected. For 3 days, you could steal a lot of data if you dare.
Well, actually, it rings a bell, because when I was in Southeast Asia, it's actually feel like the guys who are trading on the streets, they definitely could be approachable. They definitely could like the smell of money if you would offer that. Then my last question will be like, how knowing about piracy could help to make this world a better place?
If you own a boat or yacht somewhere close to the sea or to the ocean, you would aware about pirates, and you would protect yourself by calling to Coast Guard, or to having some, I don't know how to say, water guns,
Or water guns?
or something like this, maybe electric shockers. But if you are just Grand Red, сухопутная крыса, Grand Red,
Brown red, yes.
ground red, yes, in this case, you will see that you are in safety. But if you have data, very specific data, sensitive data, they could be stolen. Data of yourself, like where you going, what is your financial situation, data about your clients, data maybe something you have done, you are not proud of, and so on. In such cases, you should use some level of protections. For example, you could use some programs which encrypt your data. You should use some video cameras which will work. For example, I use a lot of special, I don't know how to say, motion sensors. Yes, it's okay to say
Motion sensors.
motion sensors. For example, on my Windows, I have like Cortain motion server. I have it on my door, and all of my objects, like clinic, like my flat, like flats of my father, mother, sister, and my daughter, they're equipped, and I will got video raw, which will go directly to YouTube, and it couldn't be deleted. And I have all the photo, and I will get the call, and immediately a group of first response will come, and so on. And sometimes it's really happened.
And we review the skill of piracy and how it could be helpful to you. Stay in peace.